March 30th, and this is Porch Talk.
Porch Talk. Porch Talk. Porch Talk. Porch Talk. Porch Talk.
All right, guys, it's Friday. It's Easter weekend. Pour yourself a tall glass of iced tea. Come join me on the front porch. This is an episode of Porch Talk. You're unfortunately going to have to sit through an episode with just me today. Bryn's in the middle of midterms up there at Wofford, so wish him some luck. Say a prayer. Hey, buddy, I'll just say this. If Wofford let me graduate, they'll let you graduate too, so don't worry too much about that. And as always, Porch Talk is brought to you by the guys over at Skirt Chaser Outfitters. Stop fishing, start catching. And if you don't know their story, look them up. Just two Southern guys that had a passion for something, and they went for it. So show them some love. Go visit their website. Buy some of their. I'll tell you, their visors are nice. Got some nice T-shirts as well. So go check out their website. And speaking of showing some love, show some love to Grayson Foster, the artist who did the Porch Talk opening theme. He's on Spotify. Look him up. Also, by the way, if you're in the Charlotte area, Thursday, April 12th, Grayson will be performing at the Evening Muse on North Davidson Street. Look into going, bring a buddy, bring a date. Should be a great evening. We'll try and put the link up on our website for y'all to get tickets. Tickets are relatively cheap, so should be a good time. All right, sticking with our theme of going through spring previews for SEC programs, I'll try and rough this one out today by myself, and we'll be discussing the Florida Gators. The next few weeks, we should have Florida superfan and front porch football fan Nick Alvarez on, so we will discuss more about the greatest traditions, games, coaches of all time, of all, the history of Florida program with him. So today are just going to be my thoughts on the Gators heading into 2018. That's it. And y'all are going to hate me because Brendan isn't here, because normally, he'll be the one that reins me in. I love these Gators, and he's a little bit more conservative in his approach to the Florida football team this season. So before we get started, I'm just going to lay out, what this is all about. I'm an SEC football fan. I'm a Southern college football fan. Hell, I'm a college football fan. But for the most part, I follow the SEC. But I'm just going to, I'm a fan with a passion for this stuff who thinks fans should have a place to voice their opinions. I'm not claiming to be a professional. Not claiming to be a journalist who has access to the locker rooms and the inside stories. I just tell you what I think. And I do my research, believe me. I know about the history, the players, the coaches, the seasons, the championships. Know about that stuff more than probably 99% of America. I'm not bragging, it's just a fact. I don't know anything about quantum physics. Don't know anything about hunting. Don't know anything about medicine or cars. I know SEC football. But I'm not an insider or a member of the media. So if you're one of those guys out there listening, and I say something that you disagree with, come with some points to back up your claim. The other day, we got messages and comments from LSU fans rambling on about God knows what. If you want to yell about how much you love LSU or South Carolina or Florida or Clemson, you have nothing to offer. Save it for the Feinbaum show. LSU, we got some of these comments. LSU's the best. You're the worst. I hate you. Save that stuff for Feinbaum. This is for fans who want to contribute to the conversation, who want to talk about their school, about this conference, about Southern college football. This is what Front Porch Football is all about. So we're excited to be bringing this to you, but we want this to be, all fans who can offer a little bit of their thoughts. You don't have to be, some genius or anything, or have all these inside points, or know everything about the locker room. But let's keep the conversation a little bit higher standards than the Feinbaum show. All right, now on Florida. Last year was a debacle, but I think it was a bump in the road. Last year's performance will not dictate how they play this year. I mean, last year was bad. 21st in offense in the country in yards per game, 29th worst passing offense, 22nd worst scoring offense. The offensive line was a train wreck. The quarterback play was shockingly bad. The receivers played horrific for how high their expectations were. And yeah, I get it. There's suspensions, there's injuries. I get it. Believe me, I do. But 4-7. Come on, something had to change this offseason, and boy, did it change. Mullen with this roster, as a South Carolina fan, I'm frightened. Dan Mullen with the roster that he inherited will have Florida back quickly. So let's get into the question marks before we start talking about all the strengths this Florida team has. Obviously, we could say the entire offense is a question mark with how they played last season, but I won't. Partly because I'm stubborn, but partly because the wide receivers are so talented. Florida receivers, come on. You got the talent. Play like it. Kadarius Toney is a kid I'm huge on. He's so elusive and shifty. Played some Wildcat last year. Played some receiver. He needs more touches and to be more consistent. Dre Massey, Tyree Cleveland. These guys are studs out wide receiver, and they start playing like it. Just need to play a little bit better. Robinson, want to see him play healthy. And the freshmen that they have coming in, Copeland, Watkins, Pitts at tight end. They all were highly recruited, well sought after recruits. So receiver position, I'm going to say we're all good at that in that area. Not as big of a question mark as some may lead you to believe. Quarterback, obviously a huge concern, but let's see what happens with Mullen coaching them. Mullen has done a lot at this position. The battle's going to be Felipe Franks, who, don't forget, was a monster prospect just a few years ago. Big arm, mobile, similar build to Nick Fitzgerald. Franks is battling this position out with freshman early enrollee Emory Jones. Emory Jones was one of the best recruits regardless of position this past year. He's the type of player that Dan Mullen likes to get. So let's hold off on judgment on the quarterback position. I think, part of me, we saw how Fromm did, saw how Tua did at Alabama. I think if Emory Jones is ready, which all the reports I'm reading, it looks like he's ahead of schedule or on schedule, doing some nice things. If Emory Jones is ready, I say throw him in there. He's the 6'3", 200 pounds, might be a little bit bigger by August. I think he's going to be the type of player that Dan Mullen really likes to use at that position. So looking forward to seeing how this quarterback position will be playing. It'll be a lot better than last year, that's for sure. All right, only true big question mark I have is who shows up on the offensive line. They have so much size, so much athleticism, but they've been underperforming. They basically lost nobody from last year. So who shows up? If they rally, get mean up front, play well, Martez Ivey finally plays like an all-SEC offensive tackle, who knows? This offense might go from the bottom of the SEC to a top 5 offense. It all starts with this offensive line, though. They have to play well. The defensive lines in the East are only getting better, and they have to play LSU every year. So it's not, you can't be having a schedule like that with an offensive line that's playing mediocre or pedestrian football. If they don't play to their potential, this whole thing collapses. Emory Jones, you can't be throwing a freshman quarterback in there. As athletic and as talented as he is, you can't be throwing a freshman quarterback in there with an offensive line that's playing mediocre up front. And obviously, if the quarterback can't throw, the receivers can't show if they've improved and show off all the talent that they have. Offensive line has to show up. All 5 starters, I believe. All 5 starters are returning. Martez Ivey got to show up at left tackle. I'm sure that's where he's going to end up. He's an All-American talent. So he has to have a big year as an All-SEC offensive tackle. The strength of this team will be the defense. I love the move to the 3-4 defense under Todd Grantham. The speed on this roster it's always been exceptional. It sets them up well for this 3-4 defense. The cornerbacks, really the entire defensive backfield that they have, Florida could rebound from a pedestrian year on defense to a stellar year on defense. I could see them forcing over 25 turnovers. Go back to those old Florida defenses. They had great ball hawks in the secondary. They had pass rushers. They had athletic linebackers. This Florida defense has all of that, has all that potential. Let's see if they can pick up the scheme quickly under Tom Grantham. C.C. Jefferson on the edge, it's a premier pass rusher. I'm fired up about that, seeing him with his hand in the dirt, but also standing up as a outside linebacker, playing in space. Obviously, you're not going to be able to set the edge as an offense with him out there. So excited to see what this Florida defense looks like. Overall, y'all, I'm telling you, I'm pretty excited. I saw this last year when I was giving the 2017 preview. This 2018 team has some talent. I was sitting there writing the 2017 preview back in Charlotte in August, and I was like, hey, I didn't think they were going to go 4-7. I was like, okay, this might, maybe an 8-4, 7-5 type team. Not a typical Florida team, but the talent that they have, a lot of these guys are young. I think 2018 is going to be huge. Just going through this, it looks like 2018 could be a big bounce back year, especially with the coaching staff especially with Emory Jones coming in. If C.C. Jefferson can play to a high level, the defensive backfield can. Martez Ivy can. If these wide receivers, I mean, they have the talent. And I'll say this, don't listen to dog fans. Don't listen to the Georgia fans. Florida is marginally behind Georgia. They're not exceptionally behind Georgia. Georgia fans make it sound like Florida, is the school of the blind and deaf and they have a horrible football team. This team is marginally behind Georgia. I'll give you my initial win-loss predictions. Let's run through this schedule. And guys, this is where you're going to miss Brendan. This is normally where he ropes me back in and kind of keeps me down to earth. But here you go. I'm going to run through this schedule. Charleston Southern opened the season off 1-0. Kentucky has the second game of the season. I got them 2-0. If this game was a little bit later in the season, that might be a trap game. But I think Kentucky is going to be a 2-0 start for Florida. Colorado State 3-0. Week 4 at Tennessee. Tennessee is in a little bit of a similar position, rebuilding with a new coach. Tennessee's farther behind than Florida is. I don't care that it's up at Rocky Top. I got Florida starting the season off 4-0. Then they got to travel to Starkville, Mississippi, the former school of Dan Mullen. And, I'm sure a bunch of Mississippi State fans are grateful for what Dan Mullen was probably the greatest coach in Mississippi State football history, especially in the Common Poll era since 1936. But there are going to be some players that are going to feel, maybe, I don't know if they'll feel slighted, but they're going to want to prove something. It's in Starkville. Here comes Dan Mullen back, from the school that he was originally with, came to Mississippi State, basically built the program to where it is today, and then leaves and goes back to Florida. They're going to have a chip on their shoulder. I'm going to take Mississippi State early. I know we're in March. It's March 30th. But I'm going to take Mississippi State. So Florida starts out 4-1, comes back home for LSU October 6th, 5-1. It's tough. I know LSU won last year, and I know the argument, it's in the swamp. That's a tough argument because LSU came in last year and won. But it's 2 years in a row that you have to go from LSU. And because remember, the LSU-Florida deal was that when Hurricane Matthew, I think it was, I forget what hurricane it was, swept through Florida, the deal was Florida would play this game at LSU, even though it was scheduled at Florida, if LSU then came to Florida back-to-back seasons. So this is the second season of this stretch. LSU has to go back to Florida, win in the swamp 2 years in a row. I don't like those chances. 5-1 for Florida to start the season. At Vanderbilt for the next game, 6-1. Bye week going into Georgia. Georgia wins the game, but I think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be one of the better games in the SEC this year. 6-2. For Florida at this point in the season. Missouri, 7-2. South Carolina, hate to say this because I think South Carolina is going to have a solid season. The best roster it's had in a while. There are a couple people that have South Carolina beating Florida. I wouldn't be shocked if that happens. I like Florida in this game. So Florida starts out 8-2. Next week is the cupcake game heading into rivalry week with Idaho, 9-2. And then Florida State, that's a crapshoot, 9-3, 10-2. So this team, I like these. I like Florida. This team could go 9-3, 10-2. There are some games on this schedule they could definitely lose. They could lose at Tennessee. That wouldn't be totally shocking. LSU's done it before. They could win the swamp. South Carolina is going to have a decent team next year. They could lose that game. Florida State, obviously. But this isn't the toughest schedule in the world for a team that's as talented or more talented than most of these. For 10 games, besides LSU and Georgia, Florida is as talented or more talented than 10 teams on the schedule. So, I like these 2018 Gators. Of course, the summer and August is where this stuff starts to change with injuries and suspensions, and then we'll see how the new additions to the roster are playing, see what kind of depth we have at an offensive line, a defense line, these types of things. But initially, without spending as much time as I do for the August season preview, where I do a lot more research, watching videos, watching tape, reviewing reports, doing some research, just initially kind of off the cuff, off a little bit of research, I like Florida. They're recruiting well with Mullen. I don't know. We'll see. Tell me where I'm wrong. Comment with your thoughts and opinions. I'll try and message back or comment back to the intelligent comments or the comments that at least give a rip instead of, I like Florida and most Florida. Florida's the best program in the world. You're wrong. They're going 12-0. Don't come in there with that. Save that for Feinbaum. I can give you we'll put maybe in a couple episodes we'll put the phone number for Feinbaum. So if you have a hankering or an urge to call in, but say Jefferson is the best player ever. I mean, just save it for another site. But I like and Georgia fans. I already feel it. Hey, what are you talking about? Georgia's 10 times better than Florida. Florida's going to go 2-10. I mean, I don't know, dude. Look at what the roster's talented. Schedule's not too tough. Dan Mullen's a quarterback whisperer. They got the talent. I like Florida. So shoot me a comment, shoot a message. But let me know. Florida will be a fun team to follow in 2018. That's for sure. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all bearing with me. We're going to do a quicker episode this week, obviously, with Brendan not joining us. But I want to thank y'all for visiting with me today and talking SEC football. Don't forget to like and share with your friends and comment with your thoughts and opinions. And I want to wish everyone a happy Easter, and I hope they have a great time with family and friends. And I hope everybody does enjoy their Easter weekend. Until next time, this is Porch Talk.
Porch Talk. Porch Talk. Porch Talk. Porch Talk. Porch Talk.